All right, so Shakeem, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's about what is it, about 8 o'clock here in Atlanta. Actually, where are you right now?
I'm actually in Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, what time is it in
Yeah.
Virginia?
About the same time. Eight
Same
o'clock.
time. All right, cool.
Yep.
And so I have this bio that you sent me. I'm going to actually go through it really quickly. Shakeem was
Hmm.
born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I actually lived in New York for 3 years. I was living in Queens, New York at the time. I think I've been in Brooklyn just a handful of times. Uh,
Sweet.
he attended the High School of Art and Design, where he majored in cartooning.
Mhm.
He worked various jobs such as security guard and exterminator while pursuing his cartooning ambitions. He now works as a truck driver as he continues filmmaking his ambitions. And I must admit, I actually have interviewed a bit more 200 publishing writers, creatives over the last 5 years. And you are the
Mhm.
first animator that I've ever interviewed. So I'm actually really interested to see how you're going to respond to these questions. And so
Oh, excellent.
before we begin, can you just say your name, the title of the excerpt you're going to read, and then just go ahead and read the excerpt?
Sure. Okay. My name is Shakeem Winn, and the name of the excerpt that I'm reading from is from the screenplay based on my film called Plaything. And the particular scene is called Plaything Arise. Exterior. The Delta Fontaine stage The Delta Fontaine stage, Georgia, in the evening. Audiences of people dressed in their Sunday best await the next Fontaine presentation with great anticipation. The stage is dark with only the center lit. Within that center is a most unusual box that bears the emblem of the Confederacy. A small handle is visible on the right side of the box. The handle begins to slowly turn to the tune of Dixie. The crowd begins to smile. Some of the spectators are even bopping their heads and tapping their feet. For many people in the audience, that song is a powerful piece of nostalgia. A simpler time of great prosperity before the war came and everything changed. However, the truth of things was about to reveal itself to the unsuspecting crowd, and the sweetness of nostalgia would soon turn bitter in their minds. The handle halts after 5 turns and the music stops. The audience grows silent. Slowly, the top of the box opens and tilts back. The audience moves closer to the stage, all the while stretching their necks as they try to see what lies within the darkness. There is nothing for 2 seconds, and then slowly it happens. The reveal of the nappy head of hair, followed by a darkened face with white bulging eyes and a perpetual grin that contained deep sadness just beneath the surface.
I really actually enjoy this. This is really there's like a bit of a horror element to it as I read the description of it. I really love that you're doing
Mhm.
the animation, actually. I think I'm really excited to see how this whole project actually ends up finishing once you are done with it. But the
Oh,
first
thank you.
question is, what is your process of writing?
Well, my process of writing is this. I start off thinking about the character and its motivations. I do a lot of thinking, and then once I feel like I've had a great handle on the thought process of it, I start writing down the outlines of the characters and the outlines of the plot and biographies for the characters as well.
And then I know you're doing animation. So what's your process of like, are you the one who actually creates the images, or is it someone else who's working in conjunction with you?
No, sir, I do everything myself. I'm self-taught. I did a lot of I joined a lot of organizations like a CIFA and things like that, and I learned from them. I studied a lot of their courses, and I've learned to do everything myself, design the characters and do animation. I animate using a program called TV Paint and Clip Studio Paint.
And when you animate something, like I know when I write, I see the images clearly in my head, and then I describe it in words because I'm not one who draws or animates. But for you, is it a very similar process? Do you just see the image and then you just start doing sketches first? Like how does that process work?
Well, I see the images first. Like I said, I do a lot of thinking first. It's just a lot of daydreams and thoughts of until those characters are marinated in my mind, so they feel like a second cousin or a relative. I just know them all so well, so I just put that on paper what I see.
And the second question is, how did you get into animating?
I started off wanting to be a comic book artist at first. Like I said before, I went to the High School of Art and Design. I majored in cartooning, but back then I wasn't as disciplined as I am now. So I got back into it around 2013, making web comics. And I joined organizations like MoCA, which is the Museum of Comic Book Cartoon Art. And I met some actual animators who actually graduated from animation school, like School of Visual Arts. And they're the ones that put me onto the programs, put me onto the organizations and stuff that I needed to join and study from. And that's how that happened.
All right, and then what is the story of Plaything about?
Thanks a lot for asking me that, Todd. Plaything is a Southern Gothic folktale. It tells the story of a rebellious slave that tried to rebel against his slave masters and the plantation owner. And as a result, he was cursed through magical means to walk the earth as like this minstrel character that's trapped in a box for the sole entertainment purposes of his children, and eventually for the minstrel show that travels across the Jim Crow America because it takes place during the post Civil War era of America.
You know, it's funny. Right now, I'm reading a novel called The Yellow Wife, and right now I can't think of who the author is, but it takes place in the late 1800s. It's about this girl, 18-year-old girl, who is she's also a slave, but her she's a mulatto. So her mom, the master, ended up having relations with her mom. Of course, the mom didn't really want it, but you know, back then was a choice. And now she's stuck in this really terrible situation. And I must admit, I'm halfway through the book. These books on slavery are always very difficult to read. They're very tough to read because like there was just a really brutal scene that the one of the overseers did to this pregnant woman. And it's really tough. And so when you write about this stuff, do you how do you handle it? I mean, I would think that having those things in my mind and then trying to really think, but you say you really think about it before you do anything, like write it down or draw it. How do you manage to have those thoughts in your head and not feel depressed?
Well, the way I see it is you can't run from history. These things have happened. You just have to deal with it. And I'm a storyteller and an entertainer first. Um, I'm a horror aficionado also. So I draw a lot of horror elements and a lot of magical elements, fantasy elements into the slavery part of the story to try to make it entertaining as possible. I'm an entertainer first and a study of history second.
And there's so many things that happened during that 400 or 500 years of slavery in America. And I'm wondering, how did you conceive of the idea that you have? There's so many things you could have chosen from. How did you conceive of the idea of the story of Plaything?
Well, you know how storytellers will sometimes tell you that they didn't come up with the idea; they was chosen for the idea. That's kind of that's basically what happened to me. I always felt like I was chosen for this. I remember watching Whoopi Goldberg on The View present a bunch of Jim Crow memorabilia to the audience. And that was the first time I saw something like that and not only seeing it, but looking at it through her eyes. She saw it from an artistic perspective, and it made me appreciate that. And from that, I was able to be inspired by that. And that's where the idea began to marinate in my mind.
About how long ago did the idea come to you? Like about how many years has it been?
It's been since 2019 since I saw that episode of The View. And then from there, other things poured into my mind that helped inspire it, like Donald Glover's The Childish Gambino, This Is America. That helped inspire it. Movies like Coonskins by Ralph Bakshi. Um, Goldilocks in the Seven Coal Miners. You know, old minstrel cartoons from Warner Brothers and Paramount and all of this stuff. Those things help inspire her.
I have to admit, when I was looking at the shorts, what you have online, I was actually thinking of that Damon Wayans movie. that I think Spike Lee produced. It's maybe about 10 years, 15 years old. I can't really think of the name of it, but I'm pretty
You're
sure it was
talking
named.
about you're talking about Bamboozle. That
Yes,
played a big
Bamboozle.
part in it too. That played a big part in it too. Absolutely.
Okay,
Spike
and
is the man.
I would urge everyone who hasn't seen Bamboozle go out and see it. It's funny, but it's also a very tragic movie. So definitely, if you haven't seen
Yes.
Bamboozle, go out and see it. And so the next question is, what tip would you give on writing?
I would say read as much as you can. That's a big part of it. Study a lot of stories, the structure of stories, and just write every day. You don't have to write 2 hours every day. You don't even have to write an hour. 15 minutes, 20 minutes would be enough as long as you get it in every day. You're just going to keep getting better and better.
And then, what tip would you give on? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. Well, I've seen a lot of animations, but I don't really know anything about creating animation. So, what tip would you give on animating?
The tips that I can give about animating is this: study as much as you can. Join organizations like a CIFA. They have different chapters wherever you may be, both East, West, and South. I'm in the South. I belong to a CIFA South. I also belong to a CIFA East as well. And study people like Richard Williams. He has a great book on animation. Preston Blair. Uh, Look at podcasts like Fantasy Animation Podcast that's created by two scholars known as Christopher Holliday and Andrew Sargent. Study that stuff. They usually put out a podcast every week. And just study body mechanics, take courses if you have to. All of these things are going to help you get better.
You know, what I love about the fact that you're doing this because I know the last question is the name of animation I think was exemplary, but for me, really the only ones that come to my mind are Japanese anime. So I could name like a slew of Japanese anime, but the only black animation I could think of is Boondocks, which is really unfortunate. I can't really think of another black animation offhand right now. So I'm wondering, for you, can you name an animation that you feel is exemplary, and then why?
That's a good question. I have two for very different reasons. First one is going to be Coonskins. Coonskins, the animation may not be like top-notch Disney or anything like that, but what I loved about it was the character designs and the boldness of the story. Like I said, Ralph Bakshi wasn't afraid to tell the story like it was. You know, he simply wanted to tell you the truth the way he saw it. And then animation in terms of craft and the way it's done, the fluidity of it and everything. The Secret of Nim by Don Bluth. That film is extraordinary. The character designs, the performances of the animation, the voice work, the score by Jerry Goldsmith. It just doesn't get better than that, man. I watch that film at least once a week.
All right, I actually saw Secrets No No. It's quite young. It's a really fantastic movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, but now I
Mhm.
probably will go and watch it again soon. But actually, that's about 15 minutes, and so I'll let you go. But before we go, you want to give a shout out meaning to anyone, any organization, anything that you have coming up. So you want to give a shout out?
Absolutely. I have two articles that's already been written on the Fantasy Animation Podcast, which was created by Christopher Holliday and Andrew Sargent. You can just go to www.fantasyanimation.org. You check that out. I want to give respect to the person that inspired me, Ralph Bakshi, great animator, great storyteller, and organizations like a CIFA, CTN, uh, organizations like that really helped me along my journey to become a filmmaker.
All right, actually, I
Oh,
want
and
to
BWA, Black Women Animation Studios, very important.
shout out to AWC, Atlanta Friars Club. That's actually how we connected. And so, yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out to the AWC. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And that's it. So I'm going to stop recording now.
Thanks, man.